Hello and welcome to Grant-o-nese Cooking.
I'm eating Grant-o-nese. I'm eating Grant-o-nese. It's delicious. I'm eating Grant-o-nese.
In this episode, we're going to cook
It's
Jing
nutritious.
chicken feet, or God chicken feet. A personal favourite of mine, which are incredibly easy to make and delicious to taste. For this recipe, you just need some very basic ingredients, just like most of Grant-o-nese cooking. You need some chicken feet. Actually, not too hard to find if you know the right butcher or if you go to an Asian supermarket. Some garlic, some sugar, some dark soy or whatever soy you actually like to eat, and some dark Chinese vinegar. But as with all Grant-o-nese cooking, feel free to substitute any ingredient. What we have to start doing first is getting the chicken feet prepped. Now usually I will cut off the actual nails of the chicken, but this time I'm actually lucky, folks. Where I purchased the chicken feet, they've already cut off the nails, so now I've only got to cut the feet into two. You can leave them as a whole, as in one big foot, but I actually like cutting them into halves, which makes more edible bite-sized serves. Now after I've chopped all the chicken feet into at least halves, it's time to actually give them a rinse under some very lukewarm water. As I said, important just to give the feet just a very light rinse, just to get them ready for the next step, which involves boiling. Now what we want to do is to put the chicken feet into some boiling water, bring it to a simmer and slowly cook it until the chicken is just nice and soft. Put it into the water, get it up to boil, and then make sure to put a lid on it. It's important to try to maintain as many of those chicken juices as you possibly can. It also makes a very nice stock for any other dish afterwards. After you boil the chicken feet for about 10 minutes, then you have to put them in a colander and cool them until they reach room temperature. Then it's time to start working on the sauce. The famous sauce which will make the Jing chicken feet taste delectable. For this pickling sauce, what we need is some soy sauce, some sugar, and a container large enough to hold all your chicken feet and to amply cover them in this beautiful juice which will come. I'm using a premium soy sauce, but you can use whatever type of soy sauce that you want, and I'm personally just using for this recipe some simple white sugar. Now what we want to do is to add all the soy sauce to a pot over an extremely low heat and then add in some sugar. It'll take a little bit of experimenting to suit your actual taste, but that's what Grant-o-nese cooking is, experimentation. I'm going to add in actually the whole bottle of sauce because I've got a rather large pickling container to actually fill, and then I'm just going to add a little dash of sugar, stirring it occasionally and letting it simmer for maybe about 10 minutes time. But just remember, a very low heat. You don't want to actually burn the oil, and you don't want to caramelize it in any shape or form. Now you may ask yourself, Grant, why do you want to boil the sauce for and then get it to a simmer? It's quite simple. I want to bring out the rich flavours of the soy sauce from what was in the bottle, instead of just using it cold. I want to excite the sauce's molecules, almost like a food type of foreplay. So some people say, Grant, why do you eat chicken feet? I say because they taste good. Even though our culture does not eat them commonly, many other cultures do. So keep an open mind, people. I've got my chicken feet cooling down and my sauce also cooling down. But to assist it cooling down even more, I'll pour it into its container now. Just let that cool down to room temperature and you'll be ready to go. Now that the sauce is cooled down, I'm going to now add in the chicken feet and some garlic and some Chinese vinegar. I've got some extra water on hand just in case I need to add just a little bit more juice. You have to experiment with the Chinese vinegar to get the right taste. So I'm going to add in the chicken feet, making sure that they're separated, they're nice and cool now. And we're going to basically soak them overnight in this, you could say like a brine. Put them in there with chopsticks Make sure that they're all covered over a little bit. Add in some garlic, you can add in chili, you can add in fruit, you can add in whatever flavours that you like. Just remember, in Grant-o-nese cooking, there are no rules. Next, I add some Chinese vinegar. Again, you have to experiment with this, just take the edge off. But the soy sauce can sometimes be slightly overpowering, that's why I also earlier added sugar. But you want the Chinese vinegar to actually add a counter flavour to it also. Quite nice. You notice that the Chinese vinegar actually counter flavours the actual soy sauce to actually level it out. Added with the sugar, tastes delectable. Then, once it's all covered, I'll put it in the fridge overnight, and in the morning we'll have a taste of just how good these chicken feet are. At 12 hours later, and what we have is this beautiful sautéed container full of chicken feet and parts. You give it a bit of a stir. I would normally probably still soak it for another 12 hours or so. You want to be turning the pieces over, but you can see how all that brine has really soaked into each individual chicken piece. Smells delicious. You can even taste it, maybe add in a little bit more sugar, a little bit more vinegar, whatever you think actually, whatever suits your delectable taste buds. And there we have it. Jing chicken feet, or God chicken feet. I really hope you've enjoyed this episode of Grant-o-nese Cooking, especially ending on such a beautiful spring morning. Until next time, that's really good chicken feet. Bonus tip, keep in mind that you do not have to eat all these chicken feet actually very quickly. They'll keep for at least 1 or 2 weeks. But then, don't throw the sauce out. Cook some more chicken feet or use it as some type of a soup base. Until next time,